Hey class, Daryl Kaufman here. The Web 2.0 tool that I chose from the resources was Audacity 2.0. It's a sampling, recording, audio cleanup tool. It's fairly easy to use. It's something that I recommend for anybody that's doing any kind of audio production, for recording any kind of radio ads, any kind of overlays, any kind of voiceovers, things of that nature. Audacity is definitely a production tool. You don't have to sign up to use it. You don't have to create an account. It's just simply downloading to your computer and using it as soon as it's done downloading. It has a help manual, has a user's guide if you would like to download that and look through it, but it's really self-explanatory as far as recording and editing and sampling, things of that nature. I picked it up. There are upgrades you can pay for. The only thing that the free edition does is it renders tracks into WAV files. If you need it rendered into an MP3 file, you have to get the upgrade for that. But there's also other music programs, if you have, you can just render it into WAV, send it to another music program, load it into there, and then render it into an MP3. A few more steps if you don't want to pay for the upgrade. I know myself, I did, and all I needed it to do was sample and record. And so I send it over to programs like Fruity Loops or GarageBand, Logic, Pro Tools. You can send them any way like that. So the upgrade is for a few other features, but mainly if you need to render your audio in MP3 form is the only thing the upgrade does over the free. In a professional setting, this tool Audacity, I know for a fact is used in studios and used by producers. A lot of producers, if they don't have access to, let's say, a drum machine, an MPC if you will, they will take clips using Audacity and put them into digital music platforms like Fruity Loops, Reason. And Audacity itself is just that. I mean, it could be used as a recording tool. I don't really recommend it. It's not up to scale. It's not on the level of Logic and Pro Tools as far as recording professionally editing. Now it's good to record voiceovers and you can clean it up, and it's really a really simple tool. But if you're trying to create songs and jingles and that thing, I would not use it. I would only use it just to record any kind of sounds or samples that you need. So that would be the professional setting. The most beneficial thing that it can do for me was definitely the sampling part of it. I know I keep mentioning that. I'm a music producer locally, so Audacity was a big help as far as sampling. You can cut the sample itself. It can record what it hears essentially. So if you're listening on the computer, let's say you're on Spotify or Pandora. For me, it's Spotify. Let's say you're on Spotify and you hear a song and you like a part of a song and you want to rewind it and you're like, how can I sample that? This program allows that. You can go back a few seconds before the part that you want, press record on Audacity, and it will record what it hears. Then after you're done, you just press stop record, and from there you can trim up the clip itself. You can enhance the quality of it. There's a lot of things you can do to get one little sample, and that's what I use Audacity for myself. For me, what's missing is the fact that it's just that. It's a recording program. There's not any kind of digital interfaces. There's not drum machines in it. There's not loops and guitar sounds, and you can't really build around it. It's legitimately just that. You can record vocals on it. You can record anything you hear from your computer, or you can bring in WAV files and MP3 sounds that you already have to trim them up and clean them up. But you can't actually build anything around it unless you wanted to play live. And if you're going to do that, you might as well just use Pro Tools or Logic. So I would hope that Audacity takes that next step to maybe elevate it into an actual legit professional sounding recording program, because as of right now it's just a digital sampling tool. The only other programs that can pretty much do what Audacity does is Logic, Pro Tools, Fruity Loops, Reason. You can sample with Fruity Loops and Reason. It's a little bit more in depth. It's a little bit harder to adapt and really get the sound quality and the cuts that you need. That's why Audacity is so nice, is when you record the sample, when you record what you're hearing, you can see the clip itself, and you can listen to it, but you can also eye test it, and you can see where the kicks and things are, and so you can trim it up more precisely to use in Fruity Loops. You can do the same in Fruity Loops. It's just not as well put together. So Fruity Loops and Logic, they can also do the same thing Audacity does. I would just recommend Audacity if you strictly produce digitally. If you're not an MPC user, if you're not a live keyboard player, there's keyboards that can sample as well. If you're not into the live instrumentation and you just want to do everything digitally, let's say off the MacBook Pro that we get from school, then the only tool that would be better than Audacity itself is if you owned an MPC, a drum machine, a drum pad, if you will. And that is a lot more expensive. Audacity was on here and you could download it for free, whereas MPCs range from anywhere from a cheap low-end models like 200, 250 up to the industry standard professional use ones, which could range from 3 to 5,000 and on up. So as far as any program doing the same, there's other computer programs that do it, but it's not necessarily better. It's on the same mark. So MPCs itself are the only things that do better than Audacity when it comes to sampling.